All right, hello EDU 210 students. We are now officially settled. It was nice to read all of your introductions. Hopefully everyone that's in class right now will follow through to the end of the semester. We've had a few people drop an ad in between, but we should be all set. So be sure to look in that introduction area in the discussion board and comment on a few of your peers, see who you have things in common with. That forum will be open all semester so that you can reference who you are as you are posting other things in the discussion board area. Mainly, we will be using the textbook Other People's Children for our discussion board this semester. So this has some dense material. It's not necessarily a fun or easy read, but Lisa Delpit does make some interesting points that are worth considering regarding inclusion in the classroom and how to meet the diverse needs of all students. So hopefully you will not necessarily enjoy this text, but get a lot out of it, and your discussions will be interesting and engaging and go beyond just regurgitating the text, although I do love when you provide examples of the text so that I can tell you read the text. So in addition to examples that Lisa gives, maybe provide your own perspectives and examples, which makes it more applicable to you as a student. And then our other text is, our required text is Multicultural Education in a Pluralistic Society. Hopefully all of you have been able to get this, get your hands on this. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but similar to Other People's Children, it's not necessarily a fun read, it's a dense read. Most of your quizzes, actually all of your quizzes, will be based on this in addition to other content in Canvas. So be sure you're going through everything one at a time, reading all of the chapters before taking any quizzes or submitting any homework. Lastly, I wanted to show you a resource that is good. You might be a little overwhelmed right now. This is not required for this class, but it's called Reaching and Teaching Diverse Populations: Strategies for Moving Beyond Stereotypes. Our class is so chock full of content that will be presented in the Multicultural Education in a Pluralistic Society text that we don't always get down to the nitty-gritty details of how you could plan lessons and specifically reach diverse populations. This is sort of a general overview of all of the types of diversity you may encounter in a classroom setting. So if you feel at the end of the class or even right now that you want something a little more methods-based, this would be your text. I'm not sure how much they are. I'm sure you can find them used on Amazon, but it gives you actual examples of lessons that I use when I teach this class in person for ways to teach students about cultural diversity. This might also be good to check into for your research project if you so choose to go that route, because you have to create a lesson plan based on the research topics you have, so that might be a good resource to check out at the library as well. So over the next few weeks, we will be focusing on learning outcome number 1 and 3. That includes, let me find it for you so I'm not trying to memorize them all and I read it correctly. Describe the elements of the critical thinking process. That's the first learning outcome, which we do right away in this module, and define and articulate the concept of multicultural education and its implementation in the public school classroom and create effective solutions to projects related to multicultural education. So you'll sort of be immersed into those two content areas. They go hand in hand. Critical thinking and cultural diversity are a great sort of blend of ways to get students to think about what they assume, what's actually fact, what's tradition, what's tied to culture. So there are two good concepts to think of, separate and tandem. So the assessments for those two learning outcomes will be due January 30th. A lot of students read that we will cover learning outcome 1 and 3, and they assume that they have to answer those, that those are questions that they have to describe the elements of the critical thinking process separately or email it to me. You don't need to do anything like that, but all of the assessments for this module, these 2 weeks, will be tied to those learning outcomes in some capacity. So if you understand what you're supposed to be learning, hopefully as you go through the content, it will be more clear what to take from it, and then the assessments should all relate back to that. So we will revisit a lot of the learning outcomes in this class multiple times and in multiple ways. And those are 2 big ones that we will work on intermittently throughout the course of this semester. So I'll check back in around January 30th or shortly thereafter. Please don't let these assignments fall off your radar. When due dates are every 2 weeks, it's easy to lose track, but plan to visit this course every day or at least 3 times a week. Get in the discussion board area and just make an effort to spend some time, a little bit of time every week for these 2 weeks. Don't wait till the very end is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of content to go through, a lot of stuff that has to kind of settle, and so that's why I give you 2 weeks to get through it all. If you have any questions between now and then, let me know, and I'll see you around the end of January.